and because of what they spend from their money. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. Then good women are subservient to Allah. I'm adding to Allah because that's what qunut is used in the Quran. It's not subservient to their husbands. It's qunut everywhere in the Quran, like dua al-qunut. Qaniteen, qumu lillahi qaniteen, is every time it's used for Allah. How are you going to say now it's being used for husbands? Good women are subservient to Allah. Hafidhatun lil ghayb, they're guardians of what is in the unseen, meaning they guard their dignity and they guard their faith even when their husband's not around. Hafidhatun lil ghayb, that's one of the meanings. There are other meanings too. Bima hafidhullah, on account of what Allah decided that should be guarded. Then he says, now by the way, so far they're obedient to Allah and they guard the chastity of the marriage and their own chastity. They guard the integrity. They don't cheat on their husbands, basically. Okay. Now he says, وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ. And as for those from whom you are afraid of their uprising. That's the next part. Now, I asked Professor Abdul Halim, what is this uprising? Because this uprising is used later on in the surah when a man is abusive to his wife. So a man potentially hitting his wife or hurting her or going against her in some aggressive way, that's also nushuz. Okay? وَإِنْ إِمْرَأَةٌ خَافَتْ مِنْ بَعْلِهَا نُشُوزًا. If a woman was afraid from her husband of an uprising, meaning some kind of outrageous behavior. The question though is, what is outrageous behavior for women? Now some people say outrageous behavior for women is, I asked her to put 2 spoons of chai, she put 3. Idrazra. That's nushuz, Quran says, that's an uprising. Or she raised her voice. So I asked Professor Abdul Halim, what is nushuz? And he's like, you know the ayah, it has a contrast. Here are good women, and here are women that have an uprising. Which means they do the opposite of what good women do. Good women are subservient to Allah. This woman has now started defying Allah. Good women are loyal to their husbands. This woman is now what? Cheating on her husband. And the husband says, Allah says to the husband, if you're afraid that she's doing this, not that she is doing it, but you're afraid that she's doing it. So he hasn't done it yet, but he's developing a fear and it's getting bigger and bigger. And وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ as opposed to khiftum, not you were afraid, but you continue to be afraid. In other words, he's getting suspicious and he's getting more suspicious, he's getting more suspicious. It's lingering, he notices things about her that he's like, what's going on here? And so he said, Allah says, فَعِذُوهُنَّ, then give them advice. Listen, something's happening. Why are you going out late at night with makeup on? Or what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I need to know. Try to counsel them. Doesn't work. You tried it regularly, didn't work. وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ, leave the bed. Abandon them. فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ, in the beds. Don't sleep with them. You're disgusted by what you know is, the fear is growing. You haven't seen anything, but the fear is growing. It's gotten really, really bad. Now it gets to the worst case. The worst case is she's actually caught. He sees her with another man. Something crazy. And he sees this and he loses his mind. And what does he do? He hits her. By the way, let's take Muslim out of this. Some dude, not even married, with his girlfriend, he sees another man. What did you do? Yeah. Is that a natural well, a girl would do it, a guy would do it.
Yeah, snaps.
You snap. Now he hit her, or he pushed her, something he did, and he feels bad.
Yeah.
How could I have done that? Allah says, I'm giving you license in that crazy case. I'll let you get away with that one. If you look at by the way, when I discussed this, Professor Abdul Halim, right? Remarkable Quran scholar, he's the one sharing this with me, and I'm like, whoa, I ain't never heard that before. So that night, I had dinner with a bunch of scholars, traditional scholars. I'm not going to name them, I don't want to blast anybody. And I was the only dressed like a kafir and they're all traditionally dressed ulama, and so I was like, let's stir up some trouble around here. So I was studying the ayah about hitting women with Professor Abdul Halim this morning. And they're like, really? What did he say? And I shared this with them. And this is actually it's restricted only to a case of repeated and perpetual infidelity from a wife, and it drives the man nuts, and then he eventually ended up losing his cool. And Allah says, people get killed over this sort of thing, by the way. And by the way, hitting, then comes the sunnah. How much can you hit? How can you hit? The Prophet ﷺ, the sunnah will dictate that you can't actually hit hard ever. Yeah. You can't ever, hit in a way that even the skin would turn red and like tap or whatever. That's a separate problem. But this is restricted to the craziest case. It's not the norm. It's not the norm. So I said that. That is not the norm. That is the exception. And to use that as a norm is a crime against the Quran.
How'd it go?
I'm expecting like fireworks. Yeah. The senior guy among them, you know what he says? Makes sense. We believe that too.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no. You do? He goes, of course. I was like, why don't you ever say it? I literally just called him out. Like, I couldn't help myself. Like, why is this the first time I'm learning this?
Yeah.
And he says, people aren't mature enough to learn these things yet, and they won't be able to, people might take advantage of it.